Hi there, James for chronic fatigue syndrome. My friend, my enemy, my constant companion, day 46. Yay! Um, I was having a moment of like, what can I talk about today? Because, yeah, I was drawing blanks and I was like, I have something to talk about. And now I've forgotten. Um, so, with, with chronic fatigue, maybe I'll do like a big moment. Yeah. Um, Not a big moment, it's kind of a realization. So we get used to the things we have to deal with, like pain, tiredness, um, not feeling good, not feeling happy, rah. We get used to it. And sometimes we then get desensitized to it. So because I've had chronic fatigue syndrome for so long, and I think this is really only starting to click with me now, but since I've had it for so long, um, I will I will ignore, not consciously, but I will ignore messages from the body that are normal messages that are saying that something needs to be done. So I I don't necessarily know that I'm feeling dehydrated, um, because feeling dehydrated is also you can get a similar feeling when you've got chronic fatigue syndrome. I don't know when I necessarily need to rest because I always feel like I need to rest. I don't know when I feel hungry necessarily because sometimes the I feel hungry signal is the same as I don't feel well signal. Like that queasy stomach feeling. Am I hungry or am I not? And if I'm not and I eat, it's not good. So I've really, it's like really been pulling on my attention the last couple of days, or this week at least, with how many normal signals do we ignore? Because I've said before, you know, you might wake up and you're feeling really run down and not good and stuff like that. And like, yeah, you haven't moved, uh, you haven't moved, you haven't eaten, you haven't hydrated, so you're likely dehydrated. You haven't got any energy in your body to fire away, and you haven't done any movement. So that will go on top of your chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia syndrome. So like when you're waking up, it's kind of like a given. But what about during the day or at the end of the day? It's kind of like, why do I feel like this? Like maybe I'm feeling tired and that's chronic fatigue syndrome. It's like that, or you're dehydrated. When was the last time you drank? You know, when was the last time you put some food into your body that you could convert to energy? Um, I'm not saying like energy where you're going to feel like, oh yeah, but just something, because your body, doesn't matter whether you're sick or not, your body requires things to run on. It is the thing. If you stopped all your intake, you would die. It's a standard observable fact. You will die. So therefore you must put something in there to continue running. But I'm so used to pain messages and tired messages and sick messages that you just kind of like block it all out. But it's really this process you've also got to go through, like, okay, have I drank water in the last half hour, 2 hours, depending on your climate? Have I had 3 smallish meals a day or 3 meals a day? Like for me, I know I need to try and get 3 food intakes a day. That's what I've found works for me. It doesn't necessarily matter too much when I do it, just as long as I do it. And if for on some day that I can have an early breakfast, like rare that those are, I'll find that I'll need to eat then kind of regularly through the day, or at least have like a second breakfast 3 hours later, something like that, to tide me over into the afternoon. So I find like I've got these little checklists, um, but it's only recently I was like, have you drank water? Like, oh yes. All right, you got to get your 3 meals in the day, like 3 food intakes. Did you do that today? No. Well, like, okay, I'm here. I've had my first one. Should be about the time of my second one. Have my third one. That just allows my body to tick over and try and maintain my weight. Like, try and put on a bit of weight, because putting on weight for me is quite difficult. Um, And then, have you had a rest? Do you need a nap? Rah, that kind of thing. So, yeah, if you've got chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia syndrome, it's likely that you're also experiencing something similar. You know, your tiredness and sluggishness could be you dehydrated because you got no water to help with your blood. So it's those kind of things of trying to relearn the signals that your body sends to you. Now I've known this for the hunger one for a long time, but it's only just clicked to me like how many other signals I might be ignoring. Like the tiredness signal. That's most probably my biggest one. I'm so used to fighting it that when I do go to sleep, I'm still fighting it. Like I don't have a switch off. So it's a constant, I'm tired. It's a constant, therefore, that I'm fighting the tiredness. I'm fighting that fatigue feeling. I'm trying to drive myself to do stuff. Because like I know that resting won't help it. It's just, that's how I'm going to feel. That's the state I'm in for the moment. So my biggest one's really noticeable lately is like when you're becoming mindful of such things is I'm always switched on to try and combat this tiredness. That when I do go to sleep at night, I not switched off. I can't switch it off. So my body's like, what's the difference? Nighttime, daytime, we're fighting this tired feeling. Well then, hey, we're going to keep doing that, and I'm going to keep you awake all night. But by the way, you did actually need sleep, so you're going to have the adverse effect, and tomorrow you're going to feel awful, and you're going to sleep for most of the day. Like, yeah, that's so much fun. So paying attention to tired ones as well, and learning to wind down or switch off. Winding down's a really big thing for me as well because I feel so wound up that by the time it comes to sleep, like, and I'm a pretty good martial arts student in that I study all the aspects, so I know how to quiet my mind. You know that whole thing they're going on about like clear your mind and don't have like just empty mind. Like I can do that. I have that skill. I can do that. So I can do all of that, but there are still times when like so I can put myself into a restive state, but there's still that background wound up that requires a little bit of extra attention. So I've just been focusing on that, trying to be more mindful of that, and trying not to have anything that might keep me wound to allow me then to go to sleep. So you'd think after 20 plus years I'd have this down, but it's always a learning experience. And you hear people, because like I said, I'm watching the forums and listening to people a lot more than I used to do. Like I had a lot more interaction with people with chronic fatigue syndrome when I was a child and a teenager, and then after school I didn't at all, pretty much, except for a couple of times I've shared. And then now, so you hear people and they're all in different stages. Like, oh, is anyone experiencing like, raised glands? Like, my glands were huge for so long. Is anyone else having trouble sleeping? Is anyone else having trouble waking up? Is anyone else having trouble eating? Is anyone else in pain? Is anyone fatigued? Is anyone like, yes, 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 yes. Does anyone feel like vomiting every morning and not being able to eat and stuff like that? And like, yes. That's most probably some of the worst times. There was a really long period where I would wake up every morning trying to vomit. And I was down to like one meal a day. So some bad times, there's some bad feelings. And while you're in it, it's very all-inclusive. There's not an out, especially because it goes for so long. We're not talking about a week or 2 weeks. We're talking about months, years even. I've only just now worked myself out of the phase of feeling sick 24/7. And it's been a long time to get here, and I've had to make a lot of adjustments. I've had to work on a lot of things. And it doesn't always, it's not like a permanent state, but I now don't feel sick 24/7. It might be 3 hours of the day, something like that. It's mornings now for the moment are more the fatigue side, or just not being able to function, that kind of thing, as opposed to feeling like vomiting and there not being anything there and like staying there. But it's a constant process. Like, it's working on the nutrition, and so what you think, so what you put in for your thoughts and what you put in for your body, and then what you put out for your thoughts and what you put out for your body. And by out with your body, I mean like what movement are you doing, and what thoughts are you allowing to rent space in your head, and what thoughts are you putting out there into the world, and what nutrition are you putting into your body? Because essentially, you are what you don't poop. Yeah, it's very deep, that. So you want whatever your body absorbs to be something that's going to help you move along and do what you'll do for the day. So you generally, for that kind of thing, less processed food is the better. So just thought I'd share about that, how we can get desensitized to normal signals, and then it's really good that we have to be mindful of that we relearn that, are you hungry? Are you sleepy? You need to move? Are you dehydrated? Okay, so see how that goes for you. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask or comment below. And like, share, subscribe, and thank you very much for letting me share this day with you.